Thank you so much, Edmund and Jeffrey, for being with me today. How are you two doing?
Doing great.
So you're currently in rehearsal process for A Funny Thing Happened on the way to the Forum. How's that been so far?
Oh, we've been having a riot. I think we always say that it's an illegal amount of fun. We've done numerous shows together, and a year ago, when this show was announced, we were working on Romeo and Juliet together,
Okay.
and looked at each other and we said, "Oh, this would be so great if we could work on the show together." And so,
And the parts we wanted,
right.
we talked about, we actually got.
So we were very, very excited about this. So now we get to finally, after how many shows have we done together? We finally actually get to play directly off of each other many times throughout the show. So we're very excited.
Yes.
And we're having a lot of fun.
So you were both very familiar with this show before being cast in it.
Actually, I wasn't.
Okay.
I mean, I knew the music. I had heard the music several times. I knew of the show, but I actually borrowed a copy of the script about 4 days before auditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I actually did the show 20 years ago in Grosse Pointe, and I played Hero, who's like the young male ingenue, right?
Yeah.
And now
he's not a young male ingenue anymore. So
now I'm playing another part, which is a part I remember saying, that'd be such a great part to play in the future. And here we are.
Yep.
So I guess I'll start with you, Jeff. Who are you playing, and like, what's kind of the show about, and like, how do you factor into that?
Well, Ed should start.
Okay.
Because we're actually both slaves in the show.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we play. Wait, he's the boss slave. I actually work for him. No.
Okay.
Funny thing happened on the way to the Forum. I play Pseudolus.
Hysterium.
And obviously a play on both words there, because he's kind of crazy and I'm kind of, trying to always be, psychologically ahead of everybody else.
Yeah.
Always faking, so I'm Pseudolus. Okay.
And I'm hysterical.
And it's a genuine, I guess we can call it, American musical classic farce. It's one of those old style musicals where you just kick back your feet. I don't want to say turn off your brain, because you got to listen.
Yes.
But it's just pure fun entertainment, broad characters, crazy plot lines, and, pratfalls, slapstick comedy, puns, all that good old-fashioned comedy. It's an evening of riotous laughter for the audience, but definitely for us while we're rehearsing.
Yes.
I was gonna say, shutting off your mind for something like a Stephen Sondheim play, like a musical, you can't really do that.
Well, it's early Sondheim.
Right.
This is the first show that he ever did both the music and the lyrics for.
Okay.
He did the lyrics for Gypsy and West Side Story.
What's that story?
I think Gypsy and West Side Story before this, but this is the first one that he did both music and lyrics for, and you can hear Sondheim in it at times, but it's got a more old school musical comedy structure to it.
So what is your two characters kind of like, without spoiling too much, but like, what's the journey through the show for the two of you?
Wait, the journey for us as actors or for the characters?
For the characters.
The characters.
Well, my goal as the character, the whole plot revolves around the fact that I am a slave and I'm trying to buy my freedom. And in order to buy my freedom from my master, who is a young, dreamy young man who has madly fallen in love with the girl next door, in order for me to buy my freedom, I have to promise that I will get them together. In the meantime...
Right. And my character, Hysterium, he runs the house, so he's the servant of Domina and Senex, who are the owners of the house. And Hero is the son. So, and Pseudolus is like Hero's servant, I guess, best way to put it. And he's always outsmarting my character, who likes to run a tight ship. And I'm always like anxious and I want things a certain way. And, Pseudolus is just always conniving, and Hysterium's going along with it, at times not knowing what's happening. But,
and definitely gets mixed up far more than
he
ever wanted to in the scheme to make it all work out.
Yeah. I have a really fun song in the show called I'm Calm. And it's all about how Hysterium is trying to stay calm, but then he just freaks out. And it's like a roller coaster. Gets very excited, hyper, and then calm. And it's just pure silliness. It's fun.
I was gonna say that fits with the hysteria. As a psychologist, these are terms that I
Right?
hear
Exactly.
frequently. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of cool. That's kind of cool to see that being kind of fed into the show and become part of these characters. Getting to play on those words, but also getting to play on those personality types.
It's a lot of words.
Oh yes, a lot of puns, a lot of double entendre and triple entendres and quadruple entendres in the show.
And the lyrics are very difficult to keep straight.
Yes,
because they're like very similar and repeat, but like maybe one word's different and a lot of rhyming.
Yeah.
Okay, so is the song some of the most challenging part to learn for the show?
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
I mean, I've got 5 songs. I think I've got 5 or 6 songs in the show, and they are all very different in style.
Mm-hmm.
And they have verses that build on each other, and then when you come back to the refrain, the words are slightly different.
Right.
So it's like trying, like memorization for this show.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been doing theater a long, long time, and I have to tell you that this is one of the most challenging shows I've ever had with regard to memorization. And you come to any rehearsal, and I'll prove that it's very hard because I'm still messing up, and we're 2 weeks away. But I'll get there. I will. So you got to come see it. I'll get.
Everything comes together in the last 2 weeks. I remember that from being in band camp. It always came together in the last 2 weeks. So, but like you said, even though this is early Sondheim, he's has such a way with words. I can understand how hard it would be to kind of some of these songs. I've seen quite a few Sondheim plays. He's one of my the musicals. He's one of my favorites. So, they're quick witted, they're fast paced, they're
yes.
He does a lot with alliteration in the show. There's a lot where the letter S is repeated in 7 or 8 consecutive words, and it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge because the songs are wrapped around chaotic, fun characters with crazy situations. So it's fun to learn them because the storyline is such a delight to tell.
So ultimately, what kind of drew you both to this project? You both sounded very excited to kind of do this. You wanted to do this together, but like, what drew you to A Funny Thing Happened on the way to the Forum?
Well, for me, I knew the show really well, and I loved doing it the first time, and I had my heart set on Hysterium because like I said before, I knew in the future, God, it'd be such a great part for me to play. And I've worked with the director Debbie twice before, and I love working with her. Her style. She's got a great sense of humor. She knows what she wants. And, it's always just a real pleasure. So that's where I was.
Right. And for me, it was kind of the opposite. I mean, I've always known of the show and I've always known of the role. And when you look at the fact that the 2 most famous actors who've ever played the role, Zero Mostel and Nathan Lane, I think it's safe to say that any musical theater performer would look at those 2 icons of Broadway musicals and say, okay, this is a pathway that I would love to be able to follow. So what I did is the opposite of Jeff, with Jeff having such familiarity with the script and wanting then to have another go at it. With me, it was like, geez, I don't know this show that much. So I would love to be able to challenge myself to do something new, to do something that's really outside my comfort zone. And then to work with a lot of the cast members that we've worked with before, who we've had such thoroughly enjoyable opportunities with. And working with Debbie, as Jeff said, working with Debbie is just it's a confidence builder in the actor when you can work with a director who knows what she wants, but also trusts the choices that you're making, but then is confident enough in both you and her vision to make sure that those 2 things work together. So I'm learning as well as enjoying the process.
It sounds like it's a real collaborative approach between actor and director for this one. I've never acted in my life, so I've always liked to learn
You should give it a shot. Come down, be a part of the show.
If I had talent, I would. No. But you kind of mentioned that you have 2 different approaches to this show. One being very familiar and one not being so familiar with it. Do you think that there's like advantages and disadvantages to like being familiar with the show or going into it blindly?
Well, I for me, it's kind of like the senior in high school who tries out for his first play.
Sure.
And then gets cast. So you've got the maturity of a senior in the enthusiasm and craziness of a raw, almost like a freshman. So
Sure.
that kind of idea, like, I got a lot of experience, but I've never done this show. So I can bring the experience to the process, but then stumbling over the memorization and learning a new character and learning a new show has given me kind of a rejuvenation for my own desire.
For me, I was really, I constantly, how do I word this the right way? I just know what we did before 20 years ago, and I don't want to compare myself to the other actors,
Sure.
especially the one that played my part, because he's a very different person. And so I'm kind of leaning into my strengths. And, of course, some of the songs I'm like, oh, I remember. And so, but everyone in this cast is really, really strong. And we have a bunch of new people as well.
That's what's really exciting.
The two young ingenues are both brand new to our theater. So
That's awesome.
yes,
Mhm.
which is great.
Getting that nice mixture of that.
Mhm.
When it comes to developing the characters, I know you have your guidebook, your script. How do you take that and kind of make it your own? Like, what is there a process that you specifically have for that?
Well, I mean, due to the fact that the show is just a knockdown, drag out farce,
Sure.
there's not a lot of subtlety to any of the character development,
Okay.
to say the least. So what's fun is the idea of making the character as broad, as big, and as brash as possible, but then shaping it so that whatever my choices of broad, broad and brash are, they're equaling Jeff's, they're equaling everybody else's in the show. Because if one person is too far into the world of farce, even if this is where the director wants you to go, if one person gets there but nobody else is there, then this person looks out of place, even though that might be the ideal. So it's fun because the lyrics are so well written, the characters are so developed with such humor, yet as well as frankly affection. I mean, all the characters are fun, and they're fun people, and they're interesting people. So you got to walk that fine line between creating real interesting people and throwing it off the deep end because it's a farce. But I think I think the music, those really help shape at least what I'm trying to do with it. That and bringing as much crazy manic energy as I can to the process.
Right. And for me, it's funny because I always put myself into these characters. Obviously, we both do. And there's a lot of Jeff in Hysterium. Like, it's quite similar. So I was actually talking to the directors about it, and I'm like, it just feels natural to go with what I would do as Jeff, and I feel like, should I lean into it? And they go, absolutely. Lean into it, it'll be more authentic. So, yeah, it's fun.
And that
I
feels
hope I'm not too much like Pseudolus. I hope maybe in my insanity I am, but he's a little on the crazy side.
Yes, no, you're not.
I mean, isn't there just always that little bit of you in every character you play?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there should
yeah.
be always.
Oh yeah.
This one, there's just like a lot of me in it.
And that's what's gonna make it so appealing to the people who come and see it. They're gonna be like, "Wow, look at how natural that feels." No,
Right? No, yeah, definitely.
now for Jeff, you kind of mentioned that you're kind of there's a lot of maybe you in this character, but for both of you, is there something you specifically have to do to get into the mindset of your character? Like, do you have a ritual to, like, as you're getting ready to go on stage?
Oh, absolutely.
To become this person?
I'm rather obnoxious. Pre-show, I have a vocal warm-up routine, a stretching routine that for the last year that we've we've done a lot of shows together over the last year. People are always making, oh, there goes Ed, he's warming up again. Because it's a pattern of a warm-up that I've taught my students for many years, and that I'm finally getting the opportunity to apply for myself. But one of the things that's helping is just being more physically active, because this show is really taxing. I mean, like, at the end of the night, I think I've lost like 7 pounds of sweat.
Right.
It's crazy. But so being very physically active during like the day and walking on a treadmill and going for walks and things like that. But just in terms of coming to the theater, there's definitely a ritual of my stretching, my vocal warm up, running lines. If we have to run a scene, we'll do quick things on the stage before the audience comes in.
Yeah. I mean, for me, yes, I have my stretching. I've got to get into the mindset when the show is about to start, and then I can tap right back into it. But I know with this show, I need all my concentration. so I can't have anyone backstage like, yapping with me or talking with me. It's like just I got to stay super focused because the parts are pretty big. I mean, Ed, his characters on stage.
I think in the 122 pages in the script, I think I'm not on stage for maybe 12 or 15 pages.
Yeah.
Wow. So you're pretty much on set the entire time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's the focal point for a lot of the stories and the characters.
Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a challenge.
Yes. But he's doing it. And
you're making it look easy. So with the show being both a farce and a musical, which I haven't seen many of those. So this is where, I need to broaden my horizons here. How do you feel like it balances those two things? What is that balance?
Well, I think I talk about farce and musical because
yes.
Okay, so it was like, well, the thing is that the show's been around for over 50 years,
mm-hmm.
and I think that's actually 60 years. If you think about it, came out in the early 60s.
Sure.
Oh my God! Like so did I. I came out in the early 60s. Anyway, I mean, like being bored. But sorry.
I was going to make the joke, and then I was like, no, don't make the joke.
No, very clever.
No, very clever. Anyway, we had, and people are talking about it, and that this will get us to sell more. The staying power musical comedy, I think it speaks for itself. So I mean, but since the music is as frenetic and the lyrics are as frantic as the storyline and the characters, I think it's that wonderful, that beautiful blend of all the different manic elements of creating a very entertaining evening of theater.
Sure. What are the themes then of A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum that resonate with you the most? You, the actor.
Themes.
Listen, I have to ask a few deep questions here.
No.
Trying to think.
Jeez. Well, never stop working for what you want to get.
Perseverance.
Okay.
Perseverance. If you see something and you want it, go for it. All safety. I don't want to say safety aside, but it's like, don't grab for the gusto, the body snatcher. Yeah. Grab for the gusto, go for it. Every character in the show has either a big or a mini quest. And that everybody is reaching for those craziness. And then when they finally hit that Venn diagram where they interlock is where the good stuff happens. So I don't know. What's the theme? Have fun, laugh, entertain.
Yes. Pure silliness.
I was gonna say definitely that's what we want audiences to take away from this. That's what we want hopefully the actors are having fun with this. So
oh my gosh, yes.
It is a lot of fun.
I appreciate your time so much for both of you. Thank you so much for being here. We are so excited to see the show.
As you can see behind us, we have our set, and we've got some workers who are there doing all their backstage wizardry that allows us the opportunity to be even stronger and be even more interactive with the audience. If it's not for these people back here, we're just talking heads.
Right.
So, it really is a team effort to bring
this
all together.
Absolutely. And a couple of our actors have been building the set as well.
Oh, wow.
Right.
We were able to get in here a little earlier.
We've been very, very lucky. Most of the shows, except for the first show of every season, most of the shows here at the Baldwin, the actors are maybe here for 2 weeks before opening.
Okay.
We were able to increase that by at least a week because two of the actors in the show, as Jeff was saying, are both retired as well, and they came here and plied their wonderful carpentry talents to get at least the foundation of what we could, doors that open and close, stairs that we can use, so that all of the rehearsal studio stuff can finally be applied to the stage.
Yeah.
And it has to be a totally different experience once you're up there and actually kind of play with it.
Right. I mean, near the end of the show, I won't ruin anything, but there's this big chase scene. And I mean, one door's opening, one door's closing, and people are running all over the place in different directions. And in the rehearsal space, we pretended we didn't have any doors. And then we hit the doors, and then it's just a whole new element.
And then we forgot the fact that, like, when we're behind those doors, oh, wait a minute. What did he say my cue line?
Right.
So we're trying to hear So and thank goodness our cast members who are the incredible stage builders have given us that opportunity to work out those details so that we can get the timing. Because like as Jeff said, those last 7 pages of the script, it's like a Marx Brothers crazy manic Keystone Cop, smashing into each other, running around.
Right.
And it's
mistaken identities.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
A lot of that frenetic energy.
Yes, a lot of that energy.
That has to, like I said, that has to be exciting to be able to do that. But it definitely adds more of that challenge as well, because you have to learn all of the things that you have to translate that to a stage where everything's different.
Right.
But the interesting thing though is once you start marrying movement to line to note to lyric, all of a sudden things get easier to memorize. Because you're realizing, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be on this side of the stage at this point, and you're working all of those, working out that escape route because I got to be over here, and all of a sudden the line starts to click in as to when it's supposed to be. So it's no longer just like, wait a minute, I know what my line is. It's on this part of the page. No, now it's like it's this part of the stage. So
and also like knowing as we're going through this, now we're adding props, and so I know exactly when I need to get the prop for the scene that I've got to go on. And some of the props I have to have.
Oh gosh, yes.
Or the whole play doesn't go. It just falls apart.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta grab the chicken right before I go back on, and it's neat. It's like how you said.
It all of a sudden the manic, insane slapstick farce becomes a very well choreographed ballet.
Right. Especially backstage too.
Oh yes.
You see, like I'm gonna cross, and then here she's gonna come, and you just see the
like,
pattern.
Move it out of the way as somebody's bolting through.
Right. And there's like a pattern. It's awesome.
I was gonna say that sounds anxiety inducing. I applaud both of you for like taking that energy and running with it, because like that sounds like a lot of moving pieces.
It is. But we rehearse a lot.
Yeah. Yes. The whole idea, and Debbie said it really well. Our director said it really well. That illusion of the first time is which is one of the greatest challenges for actors on stage. Is like, hey, this has got to sound like it's coming out of your mouth for the very first time, and you're holding that prop for the very first time, and you're making that entrance for the very first time. And so we rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and rehearse, so it looks totally spontaneous.
Right.
It's go fake it.
And it's going to look amazing. You still have 2 weeks of rehearsal, and we're like I said, we're really excited to see this. I know a lot of people are excited to see this one.
Well, we hope they are too.
Yes. Hopefully they will laugh as much as we're hoping they will.
Yes.
Oh, they should. They should. I mean, if they watch this interview, and they're going to laugh along with all of us here. So
yes, hopefully.
So Stagecrafters, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum arrives on March 28th and runs through April 13th. So get your tickets now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.